Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the secrets of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of one of the most pivotal moments in ancient history, the Battle of Actium. This naval battle, fought on September 2, 31 BCE, would determine the fate of the Roman Empire and shape the course of Western civilization. As we delve into the origins of this epic struggle, let us first set the stage with a vivid description of the location. The Battle of Actium took place in the Ambracian Gulf, off the coast of western Greece, near the modern-day city of Preveza. This strategic location, situated at the entrance to the Gulf, made it an ideal place for a naval battle. The surrounding landscape, with its steep cliffs and narrow straits, funneled ships into a confined area, where they would be forced to engage in close combat. To understand the events that led to this pivotal battle, we must journey back in time to the tumultuous years following the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE. The Roman Empire was plunged into a period of civil war, as various factions vied for power and control. Two men emerged as dominant forces: Octavian, later known as Augustus, and Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most trusted generals. As we explore the intricate web of alliances and rivalries that defined this period, we find that the conflict was not simply a clash of personalities or ideologies, but rather a culmination of decades of Roman expansion and imperial ambition. The Romans had long been interested in expanding their dominion over the eastern Mediterranean, and Egypt, with its vast wealth and strategic location, was a prized possession. In 41 BCE, Mark Antony and Cleopatra's forces clashed with those of Octavian's allies, leading to a series of skirmishes and battles that would eventually set the stage for the Battle of Actium. The naval battle at Philippi in 42 BCE, where Octavian's forces defeated those of Brutus and Cassius, had demonstrated the importance of sea power in determining the outcome of conflicts. As we continue our exploration of the earliest history of the Battle of Actium, we find that Cleopatra's formidable fleet played a crucial role in the events leading up to the battle. The Egyptian queen, determined to protect her kingdom's interests, had skillfully navigated the complex web of Roman politics, forging alliances and manipulating events to further her own goals. The strategic location of Actium, situated near the entrance to the Ambracian Gulf, made it an ideal place for a naval battle. Octavian's forces, led by the brilliant engineer Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, had carefully prepared the battlefield, constructing a series of fortifications and defensive positions that would give them a decisive advantage. In the years leading up to the Battle of Actium, the Roman Empire was also experiencing internal turmoil. The Second Triumvirate, formed by Octavian, Mark Antony, and Marcus Lepidus in 43 BCE, had begun to fray as the three men vied for power and control. The triumvirate's efforts to consolidate their power and eliminate their opponents ultimately led to the downfall of Lepidus and the emergence of Octavian and Mark Antony as the dominant forces. As we approach the eve of the Battle of Actium, we find that the stage is set for a dramatic confrontation between two of the most powerful men in the Roman Empire. The fate of Egypt, the future of the Roman Empire, and the course of Western civilization hang precariously in the balance. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our journey through the annals of time and delve into the heart of one of the most pivotal moments in ancient history, the Battle of Actium. As we now witness the unfolding drama of the Battle of Actium itself, let us vividly describe the events that took place on September 2, 31 BCE. The naval battle was a culmination of months of preparation and strategic maneuvering by both Octavian's and Mark Antony's forces. The stage was set in the Ambracian Gulf, off the coast of western Greece, where the two fleets faced each other in a spectacular display of maritime power. Octavian's fleet, led by the brilliant engineer Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, had carefully prepared the battlefield, constructing a series of fortifications and defensive positions that would give them a decisive advantage. The fleet itself was comprised of over 250 ships, including the formidable quinqueremes, which were the epitome of Roman naval engineering at the time. These massive vessels, with their 5 rows of oarsmen, were capable of ramming and boarding enemy ships with devastating effect. In contrast, Mark Antony's fleet, although larger in number, was comprised of heavier and less maneuverable ships, which would prove to be a significant disadvantage in the narrow waters of the Ambracian Gulf. The Egyptian queen, Cleopatra, had also brought her own fleet to support Mark Antony, but its presence would ultimately prove to be a liability, as it became clear that she was more concerned with preserving her own kingdom's interests than with securing a victory for her ally. As the battle commenced, Octavian's fleet formed a tight defensive line, with Agrippa's ships at the center. The enemy fleet, led by Mark Antony, attempted to outflank them, but the narrow waters of the Gulf prevented them from fully deploying their numerical superiority. The Roman ships, with their sleek design and skilled crews, were able to outmaneuver their opponents, exploiting the weaknesses in the enemy's formation. One of the most significant factors that contributed to Octavian's victory was the clever use of his fleet's speed and agility. Agrippa's ships were able to quickly respond to changes in the battlefield, darting between the slower enemy vessels and striking at their vulnerable flanks. This tactic, known as the breaking of the line, allowed the Roman fleet to gain a decisive advantage, as they were able to attack the enemy from multiple angles simultaneously. As the battle raged on, Mark Antony's fleet began to falter, with many of his ships being rammed or boarded by the relentless Roman attackers. The Egyptian queen, realizing that the tide of the battle was turning against her allies, made a fateful decision. She ordered her own fleet to retreat, abandoning Mark Antony's forces to their fate. The aftermath of the Battle of Actium was nothing short of catastrophic for Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Their fleets were decimated, with many ships sunk or captured by the victorious Romans. The two leaders themselves were forced to flee, with Mark Antony eventually taking his own life in Alexandria, while Cleopatra met a similar fate, allegedly dying from the bite of an asp. The Battle of Actium marked the end of the Roman Republic, and the beginning of the Roman Empire under Octavian, now known as Augustus. The victory cemented Octavian's position as the dominant force in Rome, allowing him to establish a new order that would bring peace and stability to the empire after decades of civil war. The bravery and cunning displayed by the Roman sailors and soldiers, the strategic brilliance of Agrippa, and the tragic fate of Mark Antony and Cleopatra all serve as a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity and ambition. Join me next time on History with Herodotus, as we explore the aftermath of the Battle of Actium and the dawn of the Roman Empire under Augustus. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we conclude our journey through the Battle of Actium and explore the aftermath of this pivotal conflict. As the dust settled after the Battle of Actium, Octavian, now firmly established as the dominant force in Rome, set about consolidating his power and establishing a new order. The victory had marked the end of the Roman Republic, and Octavian was determined to create a stable and efficient system of government that would bring peace and prosperity to the empire. One of Octavian's first actions was to reorganize the Roman calendar, introducing the month of August in his own honor. This move not only cemented his legacy, but also helped to establish a sense of continuity and tradition, as the new month was inserted into the existing calendar with great care and attention to detail. Octavian also set about reforming the Roman Senate, reducing its size and purging it of many of its more troublesome members. This move helped to eliminate potential opposition and ensured that the Senate would be a loyal and supportive institution rather than a source of conflict and instability. In addition to these reforms, Octavian also launched a series of ambitious building projects, aimed at transforming Rome into a magnificent and awe-inspiring capital city. The construction of the Forum of Augustus, the Pantheon, and the Theatre of Marcellus were just a few examples of the many grand architectural projects that were undertaken during this period. As Octavian's power and influence continued to grow, he began to take on more and more of the trappings of imperial authority. In 27 BCE, he was granted the title of Augustus by the Senate, marking the formal beginning of the Roman Empire. This title, which meant revered one, was a deliberate attempt to evoke the majesty and authority of the ancient Roman kings, while also emphasizing Octavian's role as a wise and benevolent leader. The reign of Augustus would go on to be remembered as a golden age in Roman history, marked by peace, prosperity, and cultural achievements. The Roman Empire would expand its borders, establishing a vast and complex network of trade routes, administrative systems, and military outposts that would stretch from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to Syria. As we look back on the Battle of Actium and its aftermath, it is clear that this conflict marked a turning point in Roman history, one that would have far-reaching consequences for the development of Western civilization. The bravery and cunning displayed by Octavian and his allies, the strategic brilliance of Agrippa, and the tragic fate of Mark Antony and Cleopatra all serve as a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity and ambition. In the words of the Roman historian Tacitus, the Battle of Actium was a turning point in Roman history, marking the end of the Republic and the beginning of the Empire. It was a conflict that would shape the course of Western civilization for centuries to come, leaving behind a legacy of grandeur, sophistication, and enduring achievement. And so, as we conclude our journey through the Battle of Actium, we are left with a sense of awe and wonder at the scale and significance of this ancient conflict. Thank you for joining us on History with Herodotus, and we look forward to exploring more fascinating chapters in the history of human civilization in the future. As the great Roman poet Virgil once wrote, "Sic transit gloria mundi," thus passes the glory of the world. But the legacy of ancient Rome lives on, a testament to the power of human creativity, ambition, and perseverance. Until next time, farewell. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to